Israel Harold Asper was born in Manitoba, Manitoba in 1932, the son of musicians who emigrated from Ukraine in 1926. For 40 years, this once small-town boy navigated the waters of politics and international business. Leading when leaders could not be found, Izzy, as he was known, insisted that all of us need to enter the trenches and become protagonists. Izzy grew up working in the local movie theater run by his father, cleaning gum off the seats by hand. This small-town start was an early lesson that with hard work, dedication, and a dream, anything was possible. He delivered newspapers at the age of 14, and in 10th grade, he started his own high school newspaper. This new venture gave him an early glimpse into his future in law and the media. He kept busy after high school studying music, philosophy, and history at the University of Manitoba, while also writing a music column and participating in debate, drama productions, and student politics. A popular and cheerful youth, Israel married Ruth Babs Bernstein, his high school sweetheart. Together they started a family, raising sons David and Leonard and daughter Gail.
Well, my dad had a wild sense of humor, wild temper, and he was a go big or go home kind of guy, as you can tell from this institution. We also knew that you never ever woke him up early. He could not stand getting woken up early, and woe betide any kid who played outside his door on Saturday and Sunday and woke him up, because the most terrifying apparition would appear, which would be Dad unshaven and, you know, without a cigarette, and you just didn't want to face that. And by the way, for the CRTC hearings, it was my job. Like, all the executives at CanWest would appoint me as the one who had to wake Dad up to make sure he got to those 7:30 a.m. CRTC hearings.
After graduating from law school as class valedictorian in 1957, he pursued his master's degree while at the same time forming his own law firm, Asper, Friedman & Company.
My dad did a lot of work in Toronto as a lawyer, and one time one of his clients couldn't actually pay his fees. So he's sitting there negotiating how he's going to get paid, and suddenly 5 little balls of fur run into the living room, so he told us. And my dad said, "What are those?" And the guy said, "Oh, those are brand new, purebred Lhasa Apso puppies." And Dad said, "Are they for sale?" And the guy said, "Yeah, do you want one?" And he said, "Sure." He said, "Okay, well, let me make a trade. You take one of my puppies, we call it even on my bill." And Dad said, "Absolutely." Meanwhile, my mother was not thrilled that instead of coming home with a check, he came home with who was soon to become Tuffy Asper, our beloved Lhasa Apso puppy, who was with us for 17 years. And then we made a donation when he passed away to the Humane Society. And now there's the Tuffy Asper boardroom at the Humane Society.
Izzy was a successful tax lawyer, but attracted more attention writing a syndicated weekly column in the Globe and Mail. His writing was well respected, exemplified by his best-selling book on taxation, which he wrote in just 6 weeks. Izzy believed that public service was the highest calling. He pursued and won the leadership of the Manitoba Liberal Party in 1970 and spent the following 5 years advocating tax incentives for businesses, a Bill of Rights, and rural development. Even though he did not become premier as he had hoped, Asper retained his legendary confidence. When he resigned, he was quoted, "I'm like the racehorse trained to run. I'm still looking for a forum." He later found his forum in broadcasting.
I think Dad's greatest business achievement was that he built a national television network, one station at a time, so painstakingly, and overcoming huge obstacles. Every year there seemed to be a new obstacle: recessions, setbacks, licenses being revoked. But he managed to build this incredible television network in Canada, and he built it from his beloved Winnipeg. Despite being told countless times, "You can't possibly do this from Winnipeg," he did it from Winnipeg.
After successfully building CanWest, Izzy focused on giving back to the community.
Well, Dad always believed in giving back to the community. He believed in giving back to the organizations that he felt he owed. So he gave significant funds to the University of Manitoba Law School, created the Asper School for Entrepreneurship, the Asper School of Business. St. Boniface Hospital saved his life many times, so he invested in the clinical research component. And of course, the Canadian Museum for Human Rights, which is going to be a transformational journey for hundreds of thousands of people. But I think one of his greatest achievements too was just to create the Asper Foundation, a permanent fund with a goal to better Canada and make things better in Manitoba.
One of his significant contributions was to the University of Manitoba Business School. They renamed the school in his honor. Izzy described it as the greatest recognition he had ever received. His gift ensured that the IH Asper School of Business will continue to produce many of tomorrow's outstanding Canadian leaders. He was always the protagonist, fighting for his city, his country, and his heritage. His friends and colleagues watched with admiration as he worked tirelessly to achieve his dream of a Canadian Museum of Human Rights in Winnipeg. This massive project started in a way that can only be described as typical Izzy.
Well, actually, I'll never forget the night that it was July 18th, and my dad was talking to Mo Levy, the executive director of the Asper Foundation, about an idea he had for creating a museum of tolerance or a museum of human rights. That was about 8 o'clock in the evening. Mo then told me he got a call 2 hours later from my dad. Dad had gone out driving around the city and said, "Mo, I found the land for the project. It's at the Forks, and I want you to tie this piece of land up by the end of the week. It's owned by 3 levels of government, but I know you can do it." Well, Mo kind of talked to me and said, "What am I going to do?" And I said, "Well, do what you can." He tied the land up within a couple of weeks, and this is the very land that the museum is being built on. Dad was a passionate Canadian, and he was so proud of what this country had given to him and grateful for it. He just wanted to make sure that everybody understood how lucky we were to live in this great country. So he wanted to build something that would celebrate our heroes that had given us the human rights that we enjoy today. He also wanted to do something for Western Canada and Manitoba, his beloved Canada. He thought there's no reason why all national institutions have to be in Ottawa. The jobs that we see here can go to the West as well. And he wanted this to be an architectural icon so that whenever you saw it, just like when you see the Sydney Opera House or the Eiffel Tower, you knew you're in Sydney or Paris. He wanted people to see this and know we're in Winnipeg.
He was known as a tough-as-nails, politically incorrect, jazz-loving media titan. He always stood behind his hometown, never forgot his roots, and believed in his dreams.